It's no mistake that I like music. It's in the name. Music is one of the many things that can express a person's true nature. It's used in parties, weddings, funerals, etc. Today I'm going to talk about that. So, like any normal person, music didn't just click for me naturally. Instead, I had to be what most parents normally do to their children in the 21st century, which is being insisted to give it just a slight taste tester to see if I liked it. Okay, and maybe just a tad bit of force. My very first musical instrument was the piano. Now, the place that I was taught at was this nice little building next to Tony Macaroni, which was best described by my piano tutor as a prison cell. My piano tutor was this nice outgoing guy named Paul. He was the type of guy who didn't like to put pressure on any of his pupils, and that made him an exceptionally great teacher. And that's what I like about him. The first few lessons were really basic, with us learning the phrases face and every good boy deserves fun, along with the left hand, which was all cows eat grass and good burritos don't fall apart. And every time after I'd finished my lesson first, I would have to go and get my brother to go and do his lesson. And while he was away, I would be doing my Monday homework in either the car or the building. I also found it a bit funny the fact that we didn't have a piano in our own house to practice with, so instead we just had to use our fingers to tap on a counter until we bought one. So then we bought one. And then 4 months later, Dad won a photography competition and got another one. So boom, more public disturbance. After many lessons and training with Sensei Paul, I had become ready to undertake my first piano exam. The exam took place in a huge church, and the person that was going to be grading me was this pleasant elderly lady. So we did the exam, and I walked out with a distinction, which is a good thing. Moving on. We decided that we weren't going to do grade 2 because Paul thought that I was more capable of doing grade 3, and I would be better off doing that. So that was what we did for the next few months. And so quickly came the next exam. After countless trials and errors, efforts will not be gone to waste as we finally walk through to achieve higher goals once I pass this exam. But a week before, the most unfortunate thing had to happen. I was out and about playing a game of tag in my school's playground, and while I was running, a little boy accidentally tripped me up and I landed on my hand, which caused my right hand pinky to fracture. And just when the exam was coming up. I remember being in a lot of pain and not being able to see properly after the incident, sort of like everything was going through a thermal heat setting on a camera. I was sent to the school's office to deal with it, taken home to go to the hospital a few times, and I had to wear this finger straightener contraption on my pinky to avoid any more damage. My hand took a few weeks to heal back up, and sadly we missed the chance to put all of our efforts to good use as we had missed the exam. But with that bad luck, there was actually a blessing in disguise hidden in the darkness of our situation. The blessing was that our efforts didn't go to waste, and I ended up moving on from grade 3 and on to grade 5 altogether. Alright, performances and auditions. Throughout my time as a pianist, I have had my fair share of auditions and being the superstar of the show. My first time being on center stage as a player was in my primary school years, the first time being in primary 6, and the second being in primary 7. In primary 6, I got to go on for my classroom's talent show, and I got to play on the piano where the more higher classes were. So I played my average grade 3 pieces, and I ended up entertaining both my primary 6 classroom and the primary 7 ones in the process. I don't really remember much of what happened after that, but I remember being lifted up by like 2 people for a bit and being really proud of myself. The second time was for the end of year showcase before going into secondary school. I played my cover for the song Faded by Alan Walker, link in the description. And that time round, all I could think was, it's okay, Danish. It's not like there's hundreds of eyes spotting you. It's not as if you make one single mistake, everybody will be looking down on you for the rest of your school years, including your parents. I played my song perfectly and I got a huge applause from the crowd, along with the other 2 musicians that were on the stage. After that performance and moving on to secondary, it was then that I realized on my first day that I had music for a first year subject. My time has come. The music subject was fun for a bit with me just blasting on the piano, but then as time progressed, each time the subject felt like it was being drained of fun. I'm not sure if it was because everything was too easy or I was too advanced, but I soon began to feel a little bit tired on the piano, and so I resorted to the drums. The drums were just like how I felt on the piano. Tired. Unfortunately, our school's music department only put one drum kit in each classroom, and it didn't help the fact that we had about 5 odd people to go on the drums in the space of an hour. But of course, I had a backup plan. After a few painfully boring lessons, Mr. Music offered me a chance to join the Kaylee band as the pianist, along with my friend as the drummer. So of course we gladly signed our soul away, and we got to meet a number of new people that we got to play with. We came every Monday and Wednesday, and we would practice songs with each other, and then once we were ready, we would go to different places around East Kilbride and perform for fun. Then after we did that performance, we would practice new songs for when December came, and we would play them at our Christmas concert. The Christmas concerts were a lot of fun. In S1, I got to play in front of countless people once again, and I had no fear of being nervous that time. The following year, however, the band decided to recruit another pianist. And during that year's Christmas concert, Mr. Music had the great idea that we can make a switch on the piano in order to get us both on the spotlight. But to me, it just seemed like an awkward way for 2 people to play. First of all, what's the point in switching if you could just get one of us to play the song 2 times round and spend less effort? And second, if you had us both play 2 separate songs, you would have gotten more out of that in the first place! Moving on. About a year ago, I went for an audition to get into the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland Juniors, which is basically a university for young musicians to attend to become better and to sharpen their skills. So I went to audition. And all they wanted me to do was to play 2 pieces, scales, and do a bit of sight reading. Sounds easy enough. So that's what I did. The audition wasn't too bad. Sure, there were times where I felt a little bit uneasy, but that was fine. And I played one of my overdue grade 5 pieces and Panda 2's Adventure Time medley. After the performance, the judges had to ask me some questions, which were mainly just, why do you want to come to the conservatoire? What do you want to achieve by coming here? Why do you like music? But then they asked me the question, what's your favorite book series? This question I found a bit odd, but I didn't doubt it and I told them that it was Alex Rider by Anthony Horowitz. Then after that, the audition was over. We waited a few months only to find that I didn't get in. Well, there's always next year. After the events of the Royal Conservatoire, we decided to continue on with our grade 5 stuff, and it just so happens that a few weeks later, my school will be hosting a competition for the best musician of the year for junior and senior. So I did the most obvious thing and signed up for an audition. I practiced many weeks for that competition and made sure that I was ready to win. But me being the no-brainer musician decided to play an Undertale medley at a classical event. So of course I didn't win, but I'm sure if I put my mind to it and stay determined, maybe I can try and win next year. But thanks to music, I've also made loads of new friends. So now I'm going to talk about that. A few of the first friends that I made thanks to music were the drummer that I mentioned earlier, Darn, the 2 brass players, Jordan and Lucas, who both wanted to be in a video, Stuart, who quitted playing the flute but was a friend that I made either way, and Harris, who was also a drummer that I introduced to the school practice rooms during lunch. All of these people were amazing to be around the music community with, and I am glad to have met them. Oh yeah, these people are only just a few that I've met along the way. I've met so many, but I think that these are the ones that I find the most important to me. And that's it. That's all for my music experience. So far, I think music is going really well for me. I'm not completely sure what's in store for the future, but if anything, I want to make it a good one. So I think that's a pretty good life lesson. No matter what you do, always do everything to your max, and that's what I definitely plan on doing. And finally, that's how we're going to slide into the end. Ow. Hi, so welcome to the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was 2 months worth of work, and I hope you found it worth your time. And there's a few things I want to mention that are in the video that might light a spark in my real life, so here they are. Mr. Music, if you're watching this, you probably know who you are, and I genuinely enjoy spending time in your band. And I'm sorry if I might have explained things wrongly, but I guess that's sort of just the order I process the events in. And to the people I shout out at the end, please don't take offense to the way I illustrated you. I can't draw, so I'm sorry. It feels like just yesterday since I started playing the piano, and I myself am amazed at how far I've come thanks to everyone that's helped me. So it's not long now, but this guy might be going for his grade 5 exam, so I'll finally be able to move on. Do you have any musical instruments that you play? If you do, comment them down below, because I'm sort of curious. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say for this end card, and until we meet again in some alternate universe, stay noted.